Welcome back to the channel. Today I got an over-the-counter bull elk tag, and in front of me what many consider the elk cartridge, the 338 Winchester Magnum. We are going to compare the 338 Winchester Magnum versus Weatherby's newest cartridge, the 338 Weatherby RPM. We're going to compare them head to head, see how they differ and see how they compare. I think you'll be surprised at how close these two cartridges are. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's talk the 338 Winchester Magnum, a little bit about its history and its performance. Winchester introduced this cartridge in 1958. It was dubbed as the Alaskan cartridge, and today I would still call it a very good Alaskan cartridge. It's based off the 458 Magnum, which is really just based off the 375 H&H. It does fit into a standard length action, so if you look here, the cartridge over length is 2.5 inches, which is roughly a little longer than a 30-06, and the max cartridge overall length, just like a 30-06, 3.340. And I gotta say, this is a very efficient Magnum. Yes, Magnums are not that efficient, but this one is quite good. Let's go ahead and look at the performance for this guy. So, smallest bullet you can shoot from Hornady is a 185, and you're going 3,050 feet per second. It's pretty good. 200 grain at 3,000. 225 grain, which I think this is the best weight for the 338 Win Mag. 2,800. Nosler thinks you can get over 2,850. So it's just going to depend on the book, but you're going to be roughly anywhere 2,800 to 2,850 when hand loading. A 250 grain, 2,700. I do think the 250 grains are probably a little big for it. Some people obviously would love it in their 338 Win Mag. They don't need a speed demon, but a big heavy bullet, that's fine. I think the best bullet for the Win Mag is the 225s. Let's go over the new 338 Weatherby RPM. Because let's be honest, this is very much a big departure of almost all the other Weatherby cartridges. What are Weatherby cartridges known for? Belted, huge, very fast. That's really just the key of most Weatherby cartridges, is how fast can you go. And they hold a lot of records for being the fastest cartridge in their caliber. And this is very much a different departure from that. The 338 Weatherby RPM is based off the 6.5 Weatherby RPM, and its parent case is a 284 Winchester. So what Weatherby did is they took a 284 Winchester, lengthened it to fit a standard length action, and bam, you've got this quite powerful but extremely efficient cartridge with no belt. That's the other thing. And what was really the purpose for this cartridge? Well, Weatherby wanted a powerful Magnum in the lightest rifle that you could do. Put this in a 6-lug action, in a Mark V 6-lug action, which it's pretty crazy. This rifle in a backcountry 2.0 is 5 pounds. Now look at the performance. Well, there is no load data that I could find. If you guys know of any, please let me know in the comments. I would love to see what the load data says about this cartridge. Performance from factory ammo is pretty darn good. It's right there with the 338 Win Mag. And specifically, I want to look at the 225 grain AccuBond. That's what I'm going to use to compare it with the 338 Win Mag. Now there's two types of barrel options. You've got your 24-inch barrel, which is what these velocities are with. Then they also have a 20-inch barrel for those that want that 5-pound gun. And a 225 grain is just a hair over 2,800 feet per second. It's right there with the Win Mag. And technically, this is a smaller case than the Winchester Magnum. It is probably one of the most efficient Magnums ever made. So that's pretty cool, Weatherby. Now let's see how they do head-to-head, downrange with their ballistics. I'm going to use factory ammo just because I don't have access to any load data for the Weatherby RPM. So this could really depend. If you're a reloader, you probably could get a little more out of the Win Mag than the Weatherby, but we're gonna use factory ammo. 2,825 feet per second at 0 yard or muzzle velocity, almost 4,000 foot-pounds. It's pretty darn good. Your recoil without a muzzle brake, this thing's gonna kick you really good. I think a muzzle brake or a suppressor is very much needed for this cartridge. Let's just take this out to 400 yards. Your bullet's almost going 2,200 feet per second, 2,400 foot-pounds. That's a lot of energy. 27.8 inches a drop. Not bad. It's not extremely flat, but flat enough. Now, let's just take this out to 500. You're still going 2,050 feet per second, 2,100 foot-pounds of energy, and 50 inches a drop. Overall, solid performer, especially in factory ammo. The 338 Winchester Magnum. This is Nosler ammo, factory ammo. It has a muzzle velocity of 2,750 feet per second, 3,779 foot-pounds of energy. Recoil, I think they're going to be roughly about the same. This should, well, again, it depends. If you're hand loading, you'll probably have a little more recoil. If you're not, the Weatherby RPM could have more recoil. Also depends very much on the weight of the gun. Out to 400 yards, the bullet's going 2,129 feet per second, 2,266 foot-pounds of energy. So Weatherby has about 150 foot-pounds of advantage and a 2-inch drop difference. So the Weatherby is a little better. Is it going to be noticeable by the animal? No. Then out to 500 yards, you are getting almost 2,000 feet per second, and then energy 1,975 foot-pounds and 53.6 inches to drop. A 3-inch difference. These are extremely close. Well, with these basically being dead even in performance, we're gonna have to kind of do a tiebreaker and go into more detail how these really compare to each other. So I'm going to talk about availability, price, power, and cool factor. Number one, availability. This is surprising. And this is the biggest mystery coming out of the pandemic and the ammo crisis. What happened to 338 Winchester Magnum ammo? I have no idea. I looked at Midway USA for both of these. The 338 RPM just has more ammo available. Obviously, there's a lot more options from 338 Win Mag. You just can't find them to be available. So availability goes to 338 Weatherby RPM, surprisingly. When there's only 4 ammo options, well, it beats the 1 ammo option you have in the 338 Win Mag. Price, no surprise here. 338 Win Mag, hands down, is much cheaper to get in a rifle and ammo. So the average cost for Weatherby RPM ammo, $98. Average cost for 338 Win Mag, $78. Now let's go with power. I'm going to give these win to each one. Technically, in factory ammo, 338 RPM with the 24-inch barrel is going to be a little bit faster than the 338 Win Mag. However, there's more powder capacity in the 338 Win Mag. I'm just going to make the assumption that you can hand load it to be faster than an RPM. Lastly, cool factor. What did I take into consideration? Well, definitely the rifle that you can get these cartridges in, the basically the design of the cartridge. The design of the 338 RPM is extremely awesome. It's very efficient. Again, I think it's probably the most efficient Magnum you can get. It has less powder capacity than this 338 Win Mag, and it's going a little bit faster. That's really awesome. For those that don't like the belts, I don't really care about the belt. 338 RPM does not have one compared to the 338 Win Mag having one. So overall, I give the cool factor a little bit of a win over the 338 Win Mag to the Weatherby. Anyway, let me know which one you guys think is the better cartridge.